Christmas is right around the corner. Don't know what to get your 3D printer enthusiast or wannabe enthusiasts that want to get interested in it and start trying to print themselves? Let's see what we can do to help you with something under $50. See you inside. Hello and welcome to today's video. As I said, 3D printing gifts, $50 and under. So what does that mean? This can be materials, tools, different things to help get a gift for that hard to find 3D print hobbyist in your house. So, we're going to talk about some of the common things that you could get a gift, like, material, different things like that. We may talk about some things you may not think about here today. Or if you're interested in getting into 3D printing, or you know someone that's wanting to and you're wanting them to get them a gift to encourage them to start in this wonderful hobby, this is also a great starter video for that too, of getting them different things that they need to really get started 3D printing. Now, granted, this video is $50 and under. Probably not going to be a printer in here, or will there be? We don't know. You guys have to watch the video all the way through. But it's one of those things, there are a lot of items that you can get somebody that wants to get started or is a 3D printer hobbyist to get them taken care of for Christmas. Really easy. This video is more of the stocking stuffer, I would call it, but it's kind of one of those things. There are tons of things that as a 3D printer that you're eventually, or you do need. So we're going to move over to the tool bench where I have a ton of stuff lined out that are great gift ideas for 3D printing. We'll see you guys over at the bench. All right, like I said, there's a ton of stuff that you can get a 3D printer enthusiast under $50 for Christmas. I mean, a lot of this stuff, some of the stuff on this table is under $10, which is really awesome. I'm just going to start off with the hobbyist hand drill. So when you've got holes that need to be drilled that are just fine or through a model, this guy is awesome. I mean, this little kit, it's, like I said, I think this little kit was under 20 bucks if I remember right, and it comes with tons of bits. The 3D printer, we've always got to remove supports or clean up or trim up our models. You always need a good pair of side snips, and straight side snips are really great. For small precision, I really like the dowels. Links for all of this is down in the description. For the heavier jobs like moving big supports, the Monovict, these are 6-inch MC180s. These are awesome. I just got these myself. They're spring-loaded, really good handles for getting grip on it and getting that pressure to cut through a lot of good stuff. And they're the straight edge snips, which is really important when you're doing 3D printing. Every good 3D printer needs a really good putty knife with a good sharp blade that makes it easy to peel off any material off the table that they have. So a good putty knife is always a good gift to give to a 3D printer. Allen wrenches. Oh man. When you got to do maintenance or something like that, most of the parts on these 3D printers are metric Allen wrenches. So an Allen wrench key is an awesome tool to have on hand that gives a lot of ability to work. The next thing, a lot of our printer models, we print them in pieces. So we got to put them together. Whoops. So there's two ways of putting them together, and I'm going to talk about both of them actually in this video because they're both under $50. But one of the main ones I use is the Testors Hobby Glue. This stuff, fast drying, works great with plastic, not too expensive. You can find this just about anywhere, Hobby Lobby, stuff like that. But there's also, when you're gluing stuff together and stuff like that, there can be gaps, which is just a pain in the butt. So one of the things I use that's really good for that is Vallejo resin putty. This stuff is great for filling in gaps, easily sandable, makes things look really good and really good to work with. So onto the dreaded 3D printers, most nightmarish thing that we have to do, bed leveling. Always a pain in the butt, but a lot easier when you've got a machinist gauge to help you do that. So I actually have a video out on this, on how to use this guy. This gauge runs about anywhere from $15 to $25. I've got a frame for an Ender 3V2. There's tons of frames on Thingiverse that are free that you can print to put this guy on there and level your printer bed with great precision and really good ease. I do recommend getting one of these. There's even digital versions that are out there for $30 or $40 that are really great to work with. Now, this one, this is high temperature, I believe it's called Kapton tape. So I use this to tape on my glass beds. to my printer. A lot of times I don't have to take the glass bed off. I don't use hairspray or glue on my bed. I usually never have needed to, but this stuff is great to hold the bed in place instead of clips. So really great beneficial thing. Also, if you're having to fix a thermistor or somewhere that's going on a hot place on your printer, this is great for helping hold stuff in place. It's rated for the high temperatures. It's an awesome purchase. If you're doing resin printing, one of the most important thing, and there's a couple things on here that are in resin, because I'm starting to do resin printing myself, is safety. And a good pair of safety glasses can be extremely important to your safety. This has a foam cover so nothing can get in there, because the last thing you want to do is get resin in your eyes and get a chemical burn. That's just no fun and can be a really pain in the butt. The next thing is T-nuts and metric small M3, 4, and 5 bolts. How many times have I stripped a bolt out of a printer and it just been a pain in the butt? It's great to have spares. These guys together I think are right around $30 to $40 if you buy both kits. The T-nuts are great for if you're wanting to mount stuff to your frame and different things like that. So it's definitely worth investing in these and having these on hand if you've got a 3D printer. And it can make, you know, really great gifts. And like I said, most of this stuff will all fit in a stocking, which is awesome. So I'm moving on to the next thing, and one of the most important things, you got good snips, but you need good hobby knives. So a kit like this can run you anywhere from between 30 bucks or so, but it's so worth it to help clean up your models. So I highly recommend, if you've got someone that's just getting started or is really into it, a good set of X-Acto or hobby knives, really worth the money and worth the time. So moving to the back row, get that back up here. You might laugh at my Batman toothbrush, but you really shouldn't, because this guy comes in handy for a multitude of reasons. So I'm going to start with resin. When you print a resin print, you have to put it in a bath afterward, of denatured, or an alcohol bath after it's done. I can't remember the name of the real alcohol. It'll come to me at the end of the video when I really need it. But sometimes getting those little nooks and crannies, this little guy can be handy to help you get cleaned up and get that debris off and get that model clean. So it's always kind of handy to have a tool like this around. But let's talk about FDM printing and even still resin printing. So one thing that I do is I have one of these in the back. I've cut the bristles off and I glued a piece of sandpaper on there, which made it a very small vibration sander that I can get into small spaces and clean them up real quick and just get into little nooks and crannies instead of their hand sanding all the time. It's a $5 solution. So it's kind of one of those things. Really awesome thing to keep in mind. So next two things that I'm going to talk about is acetone, pure acetone, and also alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, 70%. The alcohol, great for cleaning glass beds or your print bed. Really handy to have around if you're doing anything 3D printing and cleaning. Alcohol, or the acetone, same thing. It can be a good cleaning agent, but also if you're doing like ABS prints, you can do what's called an acetone rub and really kind of smooth out the lines in your models. So it's kind of a handy thing to keep around. Next, I'm going to move on to rubber gloves. If you're doing resin printing, you need these. You don't want to touch your printer anywhere, because that oil off your skin and stuff can mess up your prints. And plus, you don't want to get chemically burned by the resin. So, boxes of these, I think I bought this at Harbor Freight for like $8. So, but I know COVID's going on, so prices of these are probably going up, and they may be harder to find, but they're worth having around for printing. So, now I'm going to move on to two of the obvious things for the 3D printer. That's material. A spool of PLA, always handy because you're keeping your person printing. You're encouraging them to print more, which is great, because any 3D printer, there's always going to be bad days and encouragement's always going to be needed. So having material like this is a great thing to have around. Same thing for your resin printer. Resin's not cheap. This is actually $10 more for the same weight of a spool of the Inland PLA that I use. So, you know, this is what keeps the hobby fueled. So getting them a material, don't hesitate to get them a bottle or get them a spool. They're always going to need it. Quite frankly, you can never have enough material. So it's kind of one of those things. Don't hesitate to get them the material that they love to use in their printers and make the prints that make them happy. So all that's talked about, I'm going to move on to the final thing under $50. This guy comes in just under $50. I don't have the power cord plugged in, but it is a 3D printing pin. So this guy, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw a thing about this guy, me cleaning up a model where I had to remove supports, and it was a colored model and it made white spots. I took this and it just took the white spots away. I fixed a hand. I created a loop to make it an ornament. This thing is great for bonding parts together of a print, filling in gaps, or even saving prints while they're in progress with helping fix supports and different things like that while you're working. So this is a really good investment, but you can also use this to make prints all your own without a big old bulky 3D printer. If you really want to get started, here's a way to do it for $50. So it's kind of one of those things. Everything under this on this table is less than $50. But honestly, it's all integral to doing 3D printing and getting that hobby, either getting started in the hobby that your loved one or that you yourself want to get started in. This is all important stuff in the long run that it takes to do it. Now I'm talking about, I've got items from two different types of printing in here. Resin and FDM printing. This channel, if you watched, pretty much everything is FDM printing so far. Yes, resin is coming eventually. I've got the printers, if you saw that showcase. But also, if you're curious about this, go to my channel. There's a complete video on 3 things that this pin is great to be used for. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, show us some love, join the team. Because honestly, share the video with your friends and family if you want something like this for Christmas for your 3D printing hobbies. You know, don't be shy about this. You know, I sat down long and hard, and this is just one video of just trying to keep it under $50. Wait till I pump up the brakes here and get up to the real big boys. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next video.